Eala draws 18-year-old former nemesis to start the Qatar Open. Eala starts the WTA 1000 Qatar Open with a tough matchup, drawing former nemesis Teresa Valentova in the first round. Eala is set for a tough path in the Qatar TotalEnergies Open 2026. The Filipina ace is in the main draw of the Qatar Open, the first WTA 1000 of the year, and will start things off with former nemesis Teresa Valentova. Through the February 2 WTA rankings, Valentova is number 44, just ahead of Eala, who is currently enjoying her career-high ranking of world number 45. The two youngsters also have recent history, with the 18-year-old Valentova beating Eala in the first round of the Japan Women's Open last October, 6-1, 6-2. Valentova is showing fine form to start the 2026 season, making it to the round of 16 of the Adelaide International as a qualifier and the round of 32 in the Australian Open before losing to eventual champion Elena Rybakina. For the Qatar Open, Valentova is the top-ranked qualifier and won 2 matches to proceed to the main draw. Meanwhile, Eala is likewise enjoying a relatively solid start to the season, with her most recent result being a quarterfinals run in the WTA 500 Abu Dhabi Open. The Qatar Open main draw is already underway on Sunday, with the Eala Valentova scheduled for Monday. The court awaits Eala's return to the Qatar Open and an unfinished score with a rising rival. The sun glints off the sleek surfaces of the Khalifa International Tennis and Squash Complex in Doha, where the world's tennis elite gather again for the first WTA 1000 of the season, the 2026 Qatar TotalEnergies Open. For many players, this event marks a reset after the Australian summer swing. For others, it's a stage to build momentum. But for Eala, it represents something more, a chance at redemption. As she steps onto the hard courts that have seen some of the sport's most dramatic clashes, Eala isn't just another entry in the draw. She's a story in motion, a young woman blazing trails for Philippine sports, carrying both the hopes of her nation and the weight of personal history. And her journey in Doha begins not with an easy matchup, but with an echo of a past defeat. The draw that resonates. In tennis, draws can be arbiters of destiny. Sometimes luck rewards with a favorable path, other times it confronts you with ghosts from your past. In the 2026 Qatar Open, Eala drew Teresa Valentova, an 18-year-old Czech with whom her last encounter was less a battle and more a lesson. Valentova, then also on the rise, dismantled Eala 6-1, 6-2 in the first round of the 2025 Japan Women's Open, a result so decisive it lingered not as a statistic but as a memory one Eala would be determined to rewrite. This is the narrative that greets Eala as she prepares to serve in Doha, a rising star seeking revenge against a familiar, younger rival who once dominated her. The stakes are steep, not only a spot in the Qatar Open second round but pride, momentum, and the psychological edge every athlete covets. The opponent, Teresa Valentova, more than a name. Valentova isn't just any qualifier. Born in Prague and already etched into the WTA rankings just ahead of Eala at world number 44, she embodies the new generation, fearless, technically polished, and driven. Her journey to Doha's main draw was by no means effortless. She entered qualifying with confidence, then dispatched seasoned players like Irina Rodionova and Eala Seidel to earn her place. For a teenager, that's a statement, one of talent and tenacity, not merely youthful promise. Valentova's game is a blend of precision and aggression. Watching her strike a forehand or cling to a long rally, one gets the sense of a player already comfortable on the big stage, perhaps more comfortable than her years might suggest. She respects no age when it comes to competition, and that's precisely why her earlier win over Eala was so convincing. Yet as the tennis world evolves, so do its protagonists. The dynamics that defined their first meeting might not hold in a rematch. Eala isn't the same player she was. She's stronger, sharpened by experience, and deeply aware that in tennis, much like life, the same opponent can yield a very different outcome. Eala's path, rising through layers of challenge. To understand the import of this moment in Doha, we must see Eala's broader tapestry of growth. At just 20, she's charted a remarkable ascent. In 2025, she emerged as a formidable force on the WTA Tour, breaking barriers and rewriting expectations for Filipino and Southeast Asian tennis players. She didn't just participate, she made history. At the Miami Open, she stunned the tennis world by defeating former major champions and top 10 foes en route to the semifinals, a breakthrough performance that etched her name onto the global radar. But that was just one highlight. Throughout the year, she carried the banner of Filipino tennis with pride, from defeating high-ranking opponents to claiming her first WTA 125 title. Whether it was on hard courts under the Mediterranean sun or in the humid intensity of Asia, Eala proved she was not merely a promising talent but a bona fide contender. Beyond the scoreboard, Eala's inner drive. What drives Eala is both visible and intangible, a desire not just to compete, but to belong at the pinnacle. Growing up training at the Rafa Nadal Academy, she learned not only strokes and strategies but resilience and identity, the belief that greatness isn't merely inherited but cultivated through sweat, reflection, and relentless pursuit. Every player carries a story. For Eala, it's one of growth against odds. In a sport where tradition often overshadows novelty, she represents a new current, one that carries the hopes of a nation yet refuses to be defined solely by expectation. Each match is an opportunity to rewrite a chapter, and perhaps no match in Doha will be more emblematic of that than her clash with Valentova. The match ahead, what's at stake? When the moment of truth arrives and Eala steps onto court one, racket in hand and eyes focused, several threads will intertwine. Revenge, she'll face an opponent who beat her soundly, a psychological hurdle as much as a competitive one. Ranking movement, a win would not just advance her in the tournament but help solidify her place in the world rankings, potentially lifting her into the higher echelons where seeding and prestige await. Confidence, momentum matters in tennis. A strong performance here could catalyze deeper runs not just in Qatar but in Dubai, Indian Wells, Miami, and beyond. Legacy, this is part of a season where Eala continues building her narrative, from her Miami breakthrough to her SEA Games gold and beyond, a moment that tests grit as much as skill. The broader stage, Qatar and beyond. The Qatar TotalEnergies Open is more than just another event in the calendar. As one of the premier WTA 1000 tournaments, it draws the elite, from the defending champion and top contenders like Amanda Anisimova and Iga Swiatek, to emerging talents like Eala and Valentova. For Eala, this is not simply about a match. It's a chapter in a larger journey, a continuation of her evolution from a promising junior to a seasoned professional capable of shaking up draws and silencing doubters. Her past performances suggest she thrives on challenge. When she upended higher-ranked opponents, she didn't just win points, she seized moments. Her narrative has been one of ascending through adversity, learning from defeat and using it as fuel for future pursuits. In every swing of the racket,